Welcome to the video lectures on course Radiation and Microwave Technique. We are going through unit number 5, that is the active microwave components. And today we are going to start with the actual microwave tubes. So in this lecture we will see what is klystron, and in detail we will explore the two cavity klystron. So let's see what are the contents that we will cover in this lecture. Learning outcome, basic idea of klystron, and we will see two cavity klystron in detail. That is, we will see its construction, operation, performance characteristics and the applications of two cavity klystron. So the learning outcome of this lecture is, after completion of this lecture, students will be able to understand the construction of two cavity klystron amplifier. They will be able to sketch the Applegate diagram of two cavity klystron amplifier, and they will be able to explain the working of two cavity klystron amplifier along with the applications. So let's start with today's lecture. Klystron. So klystron, it is a microwave active device, and it was invented by Russell Varian and S.P. Varian at Stanford University in 1939. Klystron tube is a vacuum tube that can be operated either as an oscillator or as an amplifier at microwave frequencies. Klystrons are characterized by high power, large size, high stability, high gain, high operating voltages. Klystrons are the linear tubes. Linear tubes are also called as O-type tubes. There are two configurations of klystrons. One is multi-cavity klystron, which is used as low-power microwave amplifiers, which is classified as two-cavity klystron, three-cavity klystron. And the second configuration is reflex klystron, which is used as low-power microwave oscillator. Let's start with two-cavity klystron. A two-cavity klystron is a widely used microwave amplifier which works on the principle of velocity modulation and current modulation. So in the previous lecture we have discussed about the principle of velocity modulation that we are going to apply here in the two-cavity klystron. As I said, this two-cavity klystron is a linear beam tube. You can see this is the figure which is showing you the construction of the two-cavity klystron. As you can see over here in the figure, there is an electron gun over here. This is cathode. There is a collector. These are the focusing anodes, and these are the two cavities. These are the resonant cavities, and this is a buncher cavity, and this is the catcher cavity, and this is the drift space, which is the space in between the two cavities, and this is the space where the interaction of the weak microwave signal it takes place with the electron beams which are generated by the electron gun. And this is the space where the velocity modulation it takes place, that is the density of the electron it changes. We will see its working in detail in the further part of this lecture. And here is the RF input at the buncher cavity and RF output at the catcher cavity. So in this way this two-cavity klystron it is constructed. There are some assumptions which are made. So first assumption is the electron transit time in the cavity gap is very small as compared to the period of input RF signal. This helps to neglect the back and forth movement of electron in the cavity gap. Second assumption is input RF signal amplitude is very small as compared to the DC beam voltage. Third assumption is the RF field are totally confined in the cavity gap and zero in the drift space, so that the velocity of electron is modulated only in this cavity gap. So there will be no velocity modulation in the drift space, and the kinetic energy of the electron will be transferred to the output structure only, or in the output cavity only. Fourth assumption is electrons leave the cathode with zero initial velocity, and after that they will move with uniform velocity. And the last assumption is effect of space charges are negligible. Let's see the working of two cavity klystron. Electrons, as I said, there is a cathode. So the electrons, they are emitted by the cathode and they are collected by the collector. Two cavities are present, namely the buncher cavity and the catcher cavity. The cavity which is close to the cathode is known as the buncher cavity or the input cavity, which modulates the electron beam. The other cavity is the catcher cavity or the output cavity. It catches the energy from the bunched electron beam. The drift space is the space between the two cavities where the RF signal and the electrons interaction it takes place. Velocity modulation takes place at the buncher cavity, while the current modulation it takes place at the catcher cavity. Electron bunching process can be understood well with the Applegate diagram. So let's see the Applegate diagram. Consider this is the RF input at the buncher cavity. This is the positive cycle of RF input signal, and this is the negative cycle of RF input signal. This is the signal which is available at buncher cavity for amplification purpose. So let's consider this is the buncher cavity and this is the catcher cavity. Now an electron is emitted at 0th of this RF input signal is denoted with ER, that is the reference electrode, and it moves from buncher cavity to catcher cavity and meets at this point in the catcher cavity, and it moves with the velocity, that is with the reference velocity V is equal to V naught. There are some electrons which are late electrons as compared to the reference electrons. They are emitted somewhat later time, so they are denoted with EL. They move from buncher cavity to the catcher cavity with the increased velocity, that is they gain acceleration and they move towards the catcher cavity and meet at this point. Why they accelerate? Because they are generated during the positive cycle of the RF input. There are some early electrons which are generated early as compared to the reference electron. They move towards the catcher cavity with the velocity, that is decreased velocity, that is they are deaccelerated, and this all electrons they meet at one point. There are not only 3 electrons, there are many electrons, so they can be represented like this. And this is the bunch of electron, and this is the bunching limit. You can see over here, this is the bunching limit in which the bunching of electrons it takes place. So the velocity modulation it can be understood with this diagram. When the negative half of the RF signal is provided as input to the buncher cavity, then the moving electrons, if they are moving in this direction, they are negatively charged, and here this electric field it is having negative charge at this side. So the electrons experiences a repulsive force due to the presence of this negative charge at the entering plate of the buncher cavity. So because of this opposition offered by the field, the moving velocity of the electron it gets reduced, that is they get deaccelerated. Similarly, when positive half cycle of RF signal is provided to then the positive potential at this first plate of the cavity applies an attractive force to this moving electrons which are negatively charged. So this leads to an increase in the moving velocity of the electrons, that is they are accelerated. Thus, combinedly, we consider both the cases, then the electrons that were emitted early by the electron gun will be deaccelerated, while the electrons emitted later, they will be accelerated. Thus, all the electrons, while moving with different velocities, they get bunched in a drift space, as you can see over here. The bunches of electrons, they have formed in this drift space. So the process of change of velocity of the electrons in accordance with the sinusoidal input applied is nothing but the velocity modulation of electron beam. So after formation of bunches has started, these bunches, they travel towards the catcher cavity. The electron bunches passes through this cavity, inducing the sinusoidal oscillations, and the magnitude of this oscillation depends on the amount of bunching has taken place. Related to current modulation, the pulsating stream of electron passing through catcher cavity will excite the oscillations in the output cavity, which is also called as catcher cavity. The density of the electrons reaching at the catcher cavity varies cyclically with the time. Hence, the process is called as current modulation. The drift space converts the velocity modulation into current modulation. So, we will summarize how this two cavity klystron, it amplifies the signal. The electron gun produces a flow of electron, as you can see over here. The flow of electron, it is generated by the electron gun. The bunching process starts at this buncher cavity, where the speed of the electron is modulated and the electrons arrive in the bunches at the catcher cavity. The bunches of electron excites the microwaves that are in the output cavity of the klystron. The electrons give their kinetic energy to the field present in the catcher cavity. Thus, we get the amplified output signal at this catcher cavity, that is at this RF out. The electrons, they are absorbed by the retarded electrons, they are absorbed by the collector, and the beam, it stops over here. So these are some of the specifications of the practical klystron. It has beam voltages up to few hundreds of kilovolts. Efficiency is around 40%. About power outputs, the average continuous wave power output is up to 500 kilowatt. Pulse power is up to tens of milliwatt at up to 50 gigahertz, and the typical gain of klystrons is about 30 dB. Let's see the applications of two cavity klystron. Klystron amplifiers as the power output tubes in UHF TV transmitter, in troposphere scatter transmitters, satellite communication ground stations, in radar transmitters or wideband high power communication systems. In Global Resource Corporation, klystron amplifiers, they are used to convert these hydrocarbons in the daily material, coal, automotive waste, diesel fuels and oil sand into the natural gases also. And they also find their applications in the biomedical field. Hope you have understood what we have discussed in this lecture. We started with the klystron. We saw the structure of two cavity klystron, how it is constructed, what are the components of two cavity klystron. Then we saw how the velocity modulation takes place at the buncher cavity and the current modulation at the catcher cavity, and how the RF signal which was applied at the buncher cavity, it got amplified, and we saw the specifications of some practical two cavity klystron and the applications of two cavity klystron. Thank you.